Hello everyone. I'm here today with Miss Betsy Marsch.
Hello.
She is a local artist. There's a lot of those here in Nashville. I saw her work and I thought it was really awesome and cool, so I wanted to sit down and talk to her and have her share it with you. So let's just start like most interviewers do and just kind of tell people who you are, your background, how you got into art, all that stuff.
Okay. So I grew up kind of all over the country in a very academic family. When I was deciding where to go to college, I almost became an astrophysicist instead of an artist. Those are my top two major choices.
Wow.
So I ended up in art, and I don't regret that decision, although I still watch math and science videos on YouTube for fun. So in undergrad, I studied painting and philosophy. And when I got out of school, I was planning to actually go into art history as a discipline and go the academic path.
Like teach?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. PhD the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
But that just ended up not being the right decision for me. And I had so many people asking me to make paintings for them that I actually had to quit my job that I was doing at the time in order to fulfill all the orders.
Wow.
And so to me, that seemed to be a clear indication that maybe I should actually make it my full-time profession.
Yeah.
So I did. I've been doing that since 2015, and I'm still alive. And I get to make wonderful work.
Yeah.
So the science background, you can kind of see in some of my work because I do what I call copper reaction painting, where I perform sort of chemical processes to my substrate, which is copper metal, before I start my painting process. So that's really fun for me because I get to incorporate the science that I've always loved with the art that I love.
So when you were in school, like the techniques that you use now, is that pretty much, like, did you experiment at all and learn stuff on your own, or was it mostly just like what you...
Yeah, so I actually did not learn any of that really in school.
Oh, okay.
Just basic drawing and painting. But when I first got out of school, my job was actually as a forge, at a forge as a pewtersmith. And that's where I kind of started experimenting with metal. So I would take scrap metal home and start experimenting with it. And that's how I kind of developed my process.
Cool. So you have a piece that you've made with that process? Yeah.
So this one, you can see it there, is one of my copper reaction pieces. So I started with a copper panel.
See, we knew she was going to do this. That's why we like color coordinated.
Totally works. Started with a copper panel, reacted it with...
So does that mean like an actual piece of copper? Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes I use a thick rigid panel, and sometimes it's just like a thin sheet that you fold over something else. But it's real metal. And so you react it, and in this case I reacted it with a peacock feather, a real peacock feather, to get this special imprint. Peacock feathers are significant to me because in the stories of Flannery O'Connor, they represent transfiguration and a lot of other interesting symbols. They were also the theme of my sister's wedding. So lots of peacocks in my life. And then once it's finished, oftentimes I'll add a lot of paint layers over it and incorporate those into the painting. This one I left in the reaction stage and didn't add any traditional oils. But I did lacquer it to preserve it long term.
So this is like, it doesn't need like a glass?
No, the texture is part of what I love so much because the blues and greens have sort of like a matte texture or sometimes a crystalline one, but the metal that's still exposed just has a wonderful glossy reflectivity to it, and I love how the contrast looks in different lightings.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's see something else maybe. So one of the things that I saw of yours that I loved was these little like portrait-based paintings. Like that you do of people or do you do like families, people, pets, everything, or?
So here I have a portrait that is currently in progress, so don't judge it too hard.
It's still amazing.
You can tell the glasses aren't, they're all interrupted there. So this portrait's going to be a little bit more expressive in the end, but this is kind of like the smoother underlayer. But a lot of my clients don't have time to sit for portraits, so they send me photos.
Do you ever do that too?
I do that, but usually it's with models I've hired to kind of like do an experimental piece. My clients generally just send me photos, which isn't ideal, but it works for people's busy schedules. So this is a wonderful little portrait. I'm also doing her sister, and then I also have their pet dog
So cute.
in the same series.
So you just paint directly on the canvas?
I'll usually do preliminary sketches and then transfer the sketches.
Okay.
And then I paint directly over that.
Gotcha. Yeah, like you can see all these amazing details, like the colors, everything. I would never be able to do that.
You can just a little training.
I
can teach you
can barely
sometimes.
draw stick people. So. But yeah, those are really cool. So people can basically just give you pictures, you'll paint the portrait, and
So generally speaking, what I ask for is one high quality photo as the main reference, and then just an assortment of other photos that show me kind of personality and character, and different facets of a person's expressions. And
that's cool.
yeah.
And then you also have a fun little, what you call a miniature.
Yeah, so this, I don't know if you can really see it over there.
Bring it up closer.
Bring it up closer. So this is what I call a minuscule, and it's a miniature painting, and I do a lot of these as portraits, but I also do, as here, a whiskey glass. I do landscapes, I do bouquets of flowers, and this particular one is also on copper.
Yeah, I see it.
And I love how that gives it like a little jewel-like texture and feel. But these are a lot of fun, and I invented this kind of line years ago when I discovered that no one I knew could actually afford a full-size portrait. So I just shrunk the portraits down until everyone could afford them.
So this whole thing, like you painted at that size?
Wow. Yeah.
How are there brushes that, like, small?
There aren't always. Sometimes I have to cut the hairs off.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you could do
Yeah.
that. Wow. So they're all basically this, like, size?
The minuscules that I make are 1 inch by 1 1/4 inches.
Okay.
Although I can do any size people want, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
So tell people more, I guess, about, like, commission works or where they can find your art. Do you have any shows?
Yeah, so I do a lot of different temporary exhibitions. So I'll show in the Franklin Art Crawl, if y'all are familiar with that. I've shown there a couple of times. I was there in December, and I'll probably be showing there again later this year. I have some shows that I'm working on setting up in Pennsylvania and Florida. I've shown all around. And then there are a couple of smaller shows, like I just showed at the St. George's Episcopal Art Festival that they do every year. But most of my work is easiest to find online, BetsyMarsch.com.
Spell your last name.
Oh, so the whole name is BetsyMarsch.
Okay.
It's German. Although I do technically own the other URL. So if you misspelled my last name,
really?
you'd still hit my website. Yeah.
Okay. What was I going to ask you? So when people go to your website, can they actually purchase stuff that's on? Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to my website, there's a shop where pieces I've already made are available for sale. I also have an Etsy shop where I sell the miniatures, since those are a little different. And then I have a contact form on there. You can email me or use the contact form if you want to talk about a custom piece.
Are you on social media?
Oh, yeah.
Who isn't?
So on Facebook, it's Marsch Studios.
Okay.
And on Instagram, I have, again, Marsch_Studios for my main work. And then I also have minuscule_portraits for the miniatures.
They have their own special page.
Their own special page. But you can find either one if you find the other.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else you want people to know about you or art or your work or?
Gosh, I love what I get to do. It's incredibly difficult.
Is it?
Running the business is the hardest part, honestly. But I've made some great connections in the area, and I've always loved Nashville and Franklin. I'm just glad to get to make
Do
work here.
you find inspiration like everywhere?
Oh gosh. Yes. So as you can't see as well there, but I have my house full of houseplants, which I use in my painting. I also have a lizard, a Chinese water dragon, and I love getting out in nature whenever I can. So nature, science, philosophy, they're all inspiring, and they kind of give me a good balance to the work that I do.
Yeah. Well, check out the rest of her work because it's amazing. That's why we're here talking to her. Yeah, thank you so much. Glad I got to see it up close. And
Thank you for having me on the show.
yeah, no problem. Thank you for watching. And yeah, like she said, if you need any custom pieces or you just moved and you just need a new piece for your home or your kids are graduating or you want some You do wedding stuff too? Like,
Oh yes.
okay, yeah. Or you're getting married, or you want to give someone a gift. All that stuff. She's a girl. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for watching.
Thank you all.
Bye.